my father and mother, they will usually shop in Yerevan before holidays. I was like, why are they taking us to the cemetery? And then when I went there, then I found out that it was my relative. He would say, as soon as you open, he was joking, like, open Elchin's laptop, Asparas pops up, Asparas, right? And then FBI got involved. I was like, why FBI? Like, it's not a federal thing or anything. Nakhchivan.
Nakhchivan.
They say the Nakhchivanis are more rude, I don't know.
Hello everyone and welcome to Bright Garden Voices Tête-à-Tет number 6. I'm Arnold Alahverdian and here I have with me Elchin Mammadov. Elchin, would you please say a few words?
Hi, Elchin Mammadov. I live here in the Bay Area, San Francisco. It's going to be 4 years in July. I'm an engineer here in cybersecurity and also doing master's degree in cybersecurity. So I'm glad I welcome you here to San Francisco.
And here we are by this fireplace in Hotel Zeppelin, thanks to Javidava, who actually got us this place. It was a windy day. We didn't have a place for this interview. So we got a chance to meet here. Really good to meet you for the first time, even though I've known you for about 3 years, I think.
Yeah,
yeah,
more than that. Yeah.
So you were born in Nakhchivan, Nakhchivan, whatever,
yeah.
Nakhchivan. I'll do it
Nakhchivan.
classical Armenian, Nakhchivan. I like that better. Nakhchivan.
Yes, I was born in Nakhchivan.
And you were about, I believe, 20 when you left.
Yes, when I left, I came here as a student. And so since then I'm here. I lived in East Coast in New York. I went to school in Pennsylvania and worked in Virginia, DC area, and a little bit Maryland. And even for a short time, I lived in Kentucky. And when I say that to people, they say, Kentucky, Azerbaijan, for what? So my friend opened a business there. So he needed someone. I was unemployed there. I had a vocation from school. He said, okay, can you go there for a couple of months to, take care of it. It was cell phone repair and accessories business. Yeah, it was short. I had short Kentucky Midwest adventure.
Nice.
Yeah.
Really interesting. Can you say a bit about your growing up in Nakhchivan? I mean, we hear a lot about Azerbaijan, and I've come to know more and more about how regionalism is a big part of it, right? I mean, the Azerbaijani identity within Azerbaijan.
Yeah, within Azerbaijan.
And
yes.
and now you have this major exclave, used to be more and more autonomous in previous times.
Yes.
Soviet times, later in it's an autonomous republic until recent times. But how was it growing up in that region?
So probably it depends on the person when you were grow up, when we were born. So I was born and raised in those dark times, like early 90s, and war blockade in so it was like winter. I remember Nakhchivan winter is probably close to Yerevan. It was so cold, hot summers, cold winters, and my childhood was all about the war. Right after war, so a lot of people lost their relatives. And yeah, it was more autonomous in compared to now. Even I don't want to give a wrong information, but I believe Nakhchivan got independence before mainland Azerbaijan. I might be wrong, but it was something like that. It got independence before Azerbaijan, and then once Azerbaijan got independence, Haydar Aliyev is like head of the state of Nakhchivan, and then yeah, it was maybe not fun, but challenging times. Right now, it's way better.
Yeah, and how did you feel? Do Nakhchivanis usually feel themselves separate from, say, mainland Azerbaijan? Is there something that defines them different?
I've never felt that. First time I went to Baku, I was like 17, 16, 17 years old. And uh, my friends here from the other parts of Azerbaijan, they tell me that, oh, it should be a little bit specific, feeling spatial, that you are from Nakhchivan, it's not part of mainland Azerbaijan. I never felt any privileged or any spatial, but it is it's a place that you have to take a plane for Azerbaijanis. Other people live in the other part of Azerbaijanis. So in the other places you can drive and you can take a bus, but Nakhchivan, until recently, you got to take a plane. So yeah.
Is Nakhchivan known for anything in particular? Famous for anything? A certain sort of style of, I don't know, art, weaving, building,
Nakhchivan
craft.
is known for salt. It is actually, I think, it provides salt to like whole Azerbaijan, and we have salt caves. Actually, it's called Buzdağ, means salt mountain. So right now, back in the time, it was. I don't think that was the case, but now, if you have allergies, you go to sanatoria for stay under the inside mountain. So everything is salt. Walls are sourced, like tables, everything is sold. You can't even lick that. So you can stay there, and it's good for allergies. So it's known for salt, and also asabi calf. It's a historical. I think when you want to, if something good happens, it's a tradition. You want to sacrifice an animal. I'm sorry for the vegans and vegetarians, but so you go usually there. You sacrifice an animal there, and I think they seven. It's called in literature, in religion. It's called seven something years, but 49ers, 47. Uh, Supposedly they were seven brothers, and seven sleepers. They fall asleep and they wake up after 300 years, and they go to shopping. They're hungry, and they check their coin money. They say, oh, that this money, like, it's gone a long time ago. So asabi chef, uh, Memina Khatun, it is 12th century Seljuk. It's more Atabeks of Azerbaijan. The capital city was Nakhchivan. There's a monument there called Memina Khatun Monument. I think it's the most important landmark in Azerbaijan. It's like, people usually say the Maiden Tower in Baku, Kızgalası, but I don't think so, because its origin is not known. Whereas in the Memina Khatun origin is known. So Memina Khatun, Salt Mountain, what else I said? Memina Khatun, Salt Mountain, and Asabi Calf. These are main things for Nakhchivan, I think.
And cold winters, that's a characteristic.
Cold winters, hot summers, apricot, like Yerevan apricot. They're very close geographically. My father and mother, they will usually shop in Yerevan before holidays, because Nakhchivan city, they say,
So they had a habit of going to Yerevan and
yes,
coming back.
they do
Nice.
your shopping in Yerevan.
And that was much more common between Nakhchivan and
I'm not telling the other parts of Nala, or the Julfa, like really like further away, but close to Turkey, Sharur, Sederek, Kangarli, where I'm from, it's very close to Yerevan, like 30, 40 miles, kilometers. So it was easier to go to Yerevan, shop there, than Nakhchivan city. So yeah, apricots, Yerevan apricots. Like,
is there any characteristic most Azerbaijanis associate Nakhchivanis with?
they
people?
say the Nakhchivanis are more rude. I don't know. I don't.
Rough maybe, or
Rough, no, the
to
way
your
they
face?
talk,
Ah.
the accent, maybe the way they act too. You have to separate Nakhchivanis who live in Nakhchivan and who moves to Baku. When you move to Baku, probably you have money, and you are related to government. You have like government job, or then you move. You have money, so you act a little like overconfidence, like cocky.
So you have maybe segments of Nakhchivanis. you know, that maybe make up the stereotype. I mean,
Yeah.
it depends on a certain
And
groups
yeah,
and classes.
they say they are rich Nakhchivanis, but still Nakhchivanis in Baku are different than Nakhchivan. Nakhchivan is a poor actual region.
So most Nakhchivanis are poorer than mainland Azerbaijan. I mean, I don't
Uh,
want you to make that, but
I don't want to give you stats.
yeah.
I never read stats. Maybe recently it got a little bit better, but I think yeah, the natural the blockade and then when they start deal like trading with Turkey and Iran, it got better. But I think
As you know, Nagchivan, historically it's hosted Armenians, right, from many ages, including, you know, some of my own ancestors came from there. Armenians in Iran, many of them, especially, you know, Isfahan region, New Julfa,
mhm.
they came from Old Julfa, and of course we've had Armenians even to the Soviet period inhabiting Nakhchivan. Do you have any memories, any interactions, maybe in your period you didn't have any interactions with Armenians or your parents?
No, already my period was already too late. Like, but I asked my father, like, if you saw a lot of Armenians in Nakhchivan. He said like even in Soviet times, not Armenians were not majority anywhere. They had like this village, maybe a couple of villages in each region, but they were not. They have never been a majority in Nakhchivan, and probably some people that did business they came across with Armenians, but only Armenian thing I heard, like I saw, it was that the village Aznabir, or it's we call it Chalhangala. Like I went there a couple of times when I was a kid. You know, they had nice soil, yellowish soil that 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 was so suitable for making a tandir for like nice rough rocks, probably walls. So I noticed the difference between that village and our village. So it was like way when I was a kid. I don't know what was the difference about, but I noticed the difference. Yeah. Other than that, I wanted to find out about the church and. So when I went to Shahbuz region, Kükü, village Kükü, uh, they told me that there used to be Armenian church here, and I went to check it out. Yeah, there was nothing left there, but I saw like remains a little bit, like bricks or whatever you call. And but yeah, other than that, I don't know anyone from Nakhchivan that said we have these memories with Armenians. Only thing probably war. I think the village Kerki, I think in Armenians they call Tigranashen. That village was one of the first villages got like Azerbaijan lost even before Karabakh. I remember when we were going from my village to Nakhchivan city, I noticed like new village on my left, like it was all same white small like houses, like Zabuch in Lachin recently, like the houses are like a project house. I was like, what is it? This just appeared that village. I never saw this, and my mom told me that they are that village. The houses were built for the refugees uh, from Kharkiv, Nakhchivan. Yeah.
Interesting. So it looks like Armenians living in Nakhchivan were like the Azerbaijanis living in Armenia during Soviet times. So mostly in rural areas, and there was less of a sort of less communication or mixing, unlike the Armenians living in Baku, in more cosmopolitan regions
Mm.
where you would have more interactions. So because, we have this thing, Azerbaijanis in Armenia, there were there's less interaction in rural areas,
Yeah.
more conservative, I guess, divided village by village, versus in more city cosmopolitan areas where you
Yeah.
work
We
together.
interacted. Yeah.
Yeah. So So
It's interesting. Yeah, I did. I need to actually check what was the Armenian population in Nakhchivan, let's say in 50s or 60s. But my father said that like you rarely came across, like you rarely met them. Maybe they were hiding themselves. But I don't think during the Soviet Union nobody hid their identity. But I don't think Nakhchivan there were like Armenians in Nakhchivan were as many as the Armenians in Baku, Ganja.
I think they were more in the early Soviet period. They ended up one way or another going to the Republic.
Yeah,
the main
probably in 20s, possibly.
Armenia
But
SSR.
in during Soviet Union, I don't want to make up a number, but I don't think the Armenian population of Nakhchivan will go above 6-7%.
I wouldn't know. I don't know the figures, to be honest.
I don't want to like just throw
yeah.
any number, but I believe, knowing
Yeah.
and believing they are different things. So I don't believe.
Yeah, 6 and 7 is actually quite high
Yeah.
too. I mean, high meaning you would see the significance. You would come across people a lot
Yeah.
with 6 and 7. That's
I
interesting.
guess so.
Also, recently, I mean, not just recently, but in the past 20 years or more, in the conflict, Armenians have witnessed, a lot of their heritage sort of destroyed and whatever in Nakhchivan. Was there any talk about these things when you were there in Nakhchivan? I mean, you said you remember one church. Do people talk about these things?
Like Armenians in
Like
Nakhchivan.
like the Khachkars in Julfa or
Khachkars in Julfa, never knew about them until recently, like 2009-10, when they start like the video that shows that destruction. I never, nobody knew about that. I asked my friends, even my friends from Julfa, I asked them about that. They said we never heard of it. Maybe it's because they were really close to Arak River, and during Soviet time they wouldn't let not everybody to approach to the Iran border during Soviet time. That's why they didn't know about them. Supposedly they were there until 2006-7, right? Interestingly, I asked my friends from Julfa, nobody knew about it, and so yeah, I asked my other Armenian friends. He said he's from LA, Artur. We went to Turkey together last year. So he said like just because people were not allowed to go to the places that close to Iran border, and those that cemetery, Jufa cemetery, is very close to Aras, to Iran. That's why people never knew anything about that.
You were just a little kid when the
Yeah.
conflict broke out, right?
Yep.
Or the conflict for Karabakh, Armenians-Azerbaijanis. What was the Nahchivani experience with the conflict? The first war, the second war, anything in between?
Nakhchivan, I think we felt a little bit safer that we were hearing that Turkey is here, so nothing is going to happen to us. So people relied on Turkey a lot. But I remember I lost my relative, Kemal Mammadov. He's one of the two shaheeds, like martyrs from our village. And I remember like they took us from school to the cemetery. I was like, why we are going to school? I think I was second grade or first grade. I was like, why are they taking us to the cemetery? And then when I went there, then I found out that it was my relative Kemal that was killed. And so it is, I have a little bit like funny stories too. Not about this incident, but this is not the funny part. But I also remember that like when the women get together and make a bread in tandir, maybe Armenia, they have similarities. So when you
Tonish.
yeah, like back in the time they don't make bread like in tandir anymore, lavash bread, but back in the time in like early 90s and early 2000s. So you announced that I'm gonna have a bread making party. So you invite like 10, 12 women, and they well, like 7, 8 of them like open the stove, and then one is sitting right by the tandoor, and then stick that right. I remember I was going there. Women were crying. All of them were crying while making bread. That was one of them. And in Azerbaijani TVs, they would my auntie he would call me bandit, like in a cute way, like bandit, my little bandit. So in Azerbaijani TV, they once were watching TV during the war, and I think they were talking about like Armenian bandits, like did that, did that. I was like, hey auntie, they were talking about me, bandit. So that was a little funny part. They still remind me this, but I don't think after that, after war finished, I don't think that the feeling was different than the feeling in other part of Azerbaijan. So hatred started, refugees, but Nakhchivan got hurt less than, even though the piece of land, its land got occupied, but it got. We were like a little more relied on Turkey. We said we are safe. And then after that, yeah, the hate propaganda started, and every year the Khojaly massacre and when we mark them, they will talk about it in the schools. But yeah, that was the feeling.
And what about the more recent, the more recent wars, 2016, 2020? Anything personal? Anything where your relatives involved?
Yeah, my relative. It was far, a very distant relative, but still relative. He was killed. Actually, it was after war. It was still 2020, but I think in the end of November, he got killed somehow in a mine. I think they stepped on mine. But from our village, and one of my childhood friend, he's also he was my relative. To be exact, his grandma is my. He lived in Sumgayit, but his grandma is my father's aunt. So his name is Rahib. I forgot his last name. He in first couple of days of the war, 2020. That was like the worst time for Azerbaijan. I think Azerbaijan, the Azerbaijani soldiers didn't give more martyr, or no more soldier died uh, in different part of the Karabakh war than in Muroda. It was first couple of days. He got killed there in Muroda, and yeah, those two people from our village, and we have a neighboring village, Hök. It is like with the car, it's only 2 minutes. Walking probably 15, 20 minutes. That village, I think 15 people got killed in the recent part, 2020 war. Hök is one of the village that sacrificed more people.
So from the first war, so many, I think about 1/10 of the Azerbaijani population has a refugee background from the first war. Is that accurate? Or let's say a very big number. And most of these people went to mainland Azerbaijan,
Yeah.
right? I was wondering if there was a division in the way Nakhchivanis perceived the conflict, the Karabakh conflict that was, versus the mainland Azerbaijan, since it's you have these people there and the refugees there.
Yeah, from that point of view, I think right, we didn't get that much refugees, except for that village, small village, and it was part of Nakhchivan.
But the narrative was it the same? The perspective on the conflict, was it the same?
I don't think so, because in the one side you have people, you receive a lot of refugees, and you grow up with their stories. And on the other side, which is Nakhchivan's case, you don't have them. So perception should be different. I have never seen any refugee kid in my life. I don't want to say in my life, of course, but during my childhood from Karabakh or from Armenia. But my dad says that Aznabir, the village, the Armenian village of Tangerli region, was entirely Armenian, and so actually it was very peaceful. They left, they changed. The Armenians left, and Azeris from Zangezur came there.
Mhm.
It was a little peaceful exchange of population in late 80s, 89, 90.
And what does Nakhchivan, what will Nakhchivan gain if relations between Armenia and Azerbaijan are more normalized? If say borders are open, trade routes are open, will it benefit a lot from the situation?
Yeah, I guess trade, agriculture, it's dying right now in Nakhchivan. My villagers, when I was there last month, they said villagers will just grow wheat and corn, uh, other things, but now nobody does that because it's more costly. It's better just to buy. I think if there's a peace, Nakhchivan will gain a lot of benefit from trading Armenians, and the road to mainland Azerbaijan will open. So that way, you are not going to be spend money. The plane uh, from Baku to Nakhchivan, it's losing money for like market wise, like what we say, uh, income, my like trade income. It is losing money, so it doesn't make any money from the tickets. So it's just the transportation. So that way, people will go with their own cars and bus. Yeah, I would like to think so that Nakhchivan people will benefit from uh, from peace.
So Elchin, you came to the US. I think you were 20, right? You
Yeah.
left Azerbaijan and you ended up, after moving from place to place, you ended up in the Bay Area.
Hmm.
And just across the US, but also in the Bay Area, how have your encounters with Armenians been?
In the Bay Area, I don't think we have that many Armenians, as many as we have in Southern California, right? Naturally, and I never have never seen about during a war, 2020 war. So all the time I saw Armenians when we had a Khojali event, not last one, the one before in Stanford University, and so I was one of the organizers. Actually, it was a little bit probably we talked about a
Yeah,
little
I
bit. Yeah,
remember. I
yeah,
remember
it
it.
was a different approach, like forensic. My field's computer forensics. It is forensic approach to Khojala massacre. It was what is forensics is, for example, if you send me a picture, like digital picture, right, and that picture has some metadata on it. Metadata means data about data, so that there's a location, timestamps, like what camera it was taken with. My Khojala event was about that. Like it was not about the like hearsays, but has to be about the actual evidence papers. It was more about peace anyway. In Armenians came, they really liked it. They shake my hand. They say, "Hey, why you didn't invite us?" I say, "Okay, it was the first time we were doing this. You did a lot of things. We never got invited. So, but you were next time if you do, we'll definitely keep that in my mind." So, 3, 4 Armenians, we sat together, and a couple of them I added on my LinkedIn. Uh, so he was working Netflix. He works at Netflix. He's a software
Mhm.
engineer. But that was the only time, and another time was when Garapailan came here, Stanford. I went there.
I remember you took a picture, sent it.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
went there. I saw a lot of Armenians that were sitting there, and I think there were two Armenian couples right by me. Uh, so one was like saying the other one, the girl was saying the guy something I didn't hear, and we were putting our names and emails there, and I put my name and email. They gave them. They look at it and tell them. Probably she was thinking that I was Azerbaijani, and then
You were
after I saw
spying.
my
You were a spy.
yeah, after I saw my niece, that's what
Yeah.
I said. Uh,
Didn't you say? I remember you said you used to play soccer with some Armenians around here also, some time ago.
some Armenians around here.
Like way back, I remember in 2020, 2021, you said you had some, you would play soccer with Armenians in the Bay Area.
I do not remember.
Yeah.
Maybe yes, but I do not
Okay.
remember. Yeah, maybe we play soccer. Maybe some Armenians came, but I do not remember that.
And 2020 war,
Yeah,
you know, things happened here, right? In the Bay Area.
yeah.
What happened? What were some of the things?
So during war, we as engineers, we have other friend. He has a big house, so he will invite. So we go his house. We go to his house, 7, 8 people. We'll just on Twitter, always on Twitter, because when it's like 9 p.m. here, it's 9 a.m. Usual Azerbaijan defense minister will post like updates. Aliyev will post tweets. So everybody was waiting for those. Uh, so if one day, I think it was like Fizuli, I didn't post tweet, no updates. So I think then I heard that like the Fizuli, like passing Fizuli was very very difficult, and a lot of Azerbaijani soldiers got killed. Uh, but then Azerbaijani people would like take their cars, fancy cars, rich Azerbaijanis with the flags. From airport we came here, right? That 101, the route 101. So that road was full of Azerbaijani people, like with the flags, right? First time I said, wow, we have that many Azerbaijani people here. So they will come to San Francisco, not Union Square, but there's another square. I forgot its name. They will come here, turn around, and they'll go back. And we had a couple of. I had a picture too on my Instagram. We had a couple of. You can post that picture if you want. Uh, I will. I will. I was rooting for peace. So we will had some rallies here. Some like people had different intentions in those rallies. My stand was like a peace, show for peace. Uh, there shouldn't be any war, and so once sorry once Armenians, there's Azerbaijani Cultural Center in Los Gatos, and I heard that the Armenians attacked there. I don't know if they burned. I heard with the graffitis they wrote a lot of things, and then one Azerbaijani guy went to Armenian church. It was school and church together, and he tried to burn it. Actually, he tried to burn, and then FBI got involved. I was like, why FBI? Like it's not a federal thing or anything. It's an ethnic conflict, and usually FBI gets involved. Uh, yeah, I was here. I was not able to sleep, and I asked my work that there's a war going on, so I want to take off because I can't fall asleep. Like I will just sleep 10 minutes and wake up and refresh the Twitter, wake up and refresh the Twitter, go to Telegram. I was like, I'm not being productive, so I'm gonna take it off. And so yeah, it was
All right.
a tough time.
And of course, beyond your physical vicinity, you engage more and more with Armenians on social media.
It was
Like Twitter, that's where I think
yeah.
I saw you, but not all positive, right? But at least you got to meet, people who became involved with, for example, Bright Garden Voices.
Yeah, I always want to be close to Armenians. Even like in 2015 years ago when I came here first to the US, when I lived in New York, I was reading Armenian news. Was like my early 20s, right? With my friend Orhan, he would say, as soon as you open, he was joking like, open Elchin's laptop, Asparas pops up. You know, Asparas. Yeah, he was joking to our, with our
Yeah.
other friends. Like, I was reading the different news like this
Mhm.
from Asparas
Mhm.
included, Pan Armenian, News.am, Armenian Net, and a couple of them even got
Yeah.
closed. I remember Anka ANC, they were like 1,200 people, their subscribers. And when there was mother principles were viral in 2000, I think 10, 11, but Anka was working against it. Like
Mm.
it was doing everything to derail the process. I was commenting, and back in that time, like I met Armenians, and when I was in college in Bloomsburg University of Pennsylvania, we would get students from Russia. Maybe right now they canceled that program, but study abroad program, and some of those students were Armenians. Like Aram, my friend, I always kept myself to close them. I always had a great experience. Like we'll play tennis, we'll talk, we'll be politics, we'll be about Karabakh, without touching the sensitive topics. I always like from people from Armenia. Uh, uh, they were different than some people I met in the college, like American Armenians. Like there was no way to approach them. Like I wanted to be friend. Even there was a guy in my class. I forgot his name. So I wanted to like he say hi. He said hi, but he didn't. I felt that no, he didn't. But the Armenians from Armenia, on social media, I made friends, and people who came from Russia to study in my college. I made good friends.
Great.
Yeah, I was,
Wonderful.
15 years I have been reading Armenian social media and everything. I know a lot of people. I was even reading Nikol Pashinyan. I knew him even before he was a parliamentarian.
Yeah.
I was reading his stuff. Like if I found
You
it
probably followed these people better than I. And I
yeah,
know some Armenian sort of analysts, better than me. You follow them for like 10 years or more. You
yes,
mentioned.
yeah, many Armenians.
Yeah.
I was
So
really,
Elchin, any final words? Any thought? Any words of wisdom on Armenia-Azerbaijan, Armenians-Azerbaijanis? What would you like to see?
uh, I want to see peace naturally as always, and in social media, it is. I observe even before war. I told you already that I've been reading Armenian news for a long time, way long before war. The diaspora and Armenians are very aggressive, very
Like me?
national. No, yeah, like exception. No, mostly.
But I mean, we're talking about those who are active, who make their voice heard,
I
because the
was talking about
majority are voiceless, right? I mean, they don't get actively involved.
I was talking about
Yeah.
when they comment on
Okay.
Twitter, on social media. They
And
were
that's
using
still,
like
yeah,
bad, really
yeah.
bad words. Like even before war, after war, I could understand that. But before war, you had the Karabakh, and they always speak like, bad about Azerbaijanis. He now, I feel sad. At the same time, you say that okay, we are a nation of like thousands of years, right? And I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but if you claim that, you got to act according to that maturity. If you say that we are 3,000 years old
But what
nation,
does that mean? I mean, what does that mean in the context of as if humans don't have? I mean, I know this is a tribal identity, and Armenians, the tribe name continued directly, of course, but human history is the same age. It doesn't change. It just
yeah,
the
yeah, it
tribe's
doesn't.
names change.
But in what context I mean is like as a nation,
Yeah,
if you think the
the identity
identity,
of the
like
nation.
identity of the nation, if you think it's been around for
Yeah,
thousands of years,
but
you got to act.
Armenians see a more direct, and there's more resources to connect themselves to the
One
historic
of my
Armenians,
Turkish
right?
professors said that you got to approach Armenians as an organization, not as a nation. They said that they act together in everything. You got to like you approach one of them. I don't know.
act
What
together
was
and everything.
like
Are you kidding me? Like it's the same thing. Like Azerbaijanis say we're so divided, but Armenians, you see the fracture, right? Uh, they're also very divided on many issues internally.
yeah, but I
Often,
think that's his own opinion. I'm not saying that
yeah.
I'm supporting that. But on social media, I think the Armenians are is trying to, like, let's say if there's a Jewish person, right? I tried actually tested that. Say that I don't believe in Holocaust, right? He's gonna just smile on you. I mean, this guy is uneducated. He's not gonna try to prove it.
It depends on
But
who it is.
I tested actually. So if you tell a Greek person like you don't have a history, they're gonna smile on you, or Chinese or Indian. Uh, but Armenians in that context, they try to prove themselves. Like when someone posts good thing about Azerbaijan in a consistent and in organized way, they come and harass that person.
But
That's really
Armenians, I talk to, they say the same thing though about Azerbaijanis and Turks, and they're like, then there's like these different layers of Turks and Azeris, and they're like, oh, Azeris are so, they feel so victimized all the time, and they say you're murderers. The same. I think it's actually pretty equal, because
uh,
I myself, I feel it. A lot of Azerbaijanis suddenly get triggered if you sort of question something based on my own experience. So
I maybe you are right, but I noticed that. I think they just they shouldn't do that. It is not the way. Maturity is very important. I know it's going, they are going through very sensitive time right now, but at some point, like it's let's say the recently Azerbaijan said that it's going to ban the cousin marriage, right? After that, the Armenians like inbred, the whole Azerbaijan's inbred, everything. You are like your mom and dad are siblings. No, it's not like that. The cousin marriage, first cousin marriage, is illegal in 23 states in America, including California, New York, DC, and 20 more states. Like, it was legal in Azerbaijan. Azerbaijan said it's not going to be legal anymore. So that made the Azerbaijanis, since then, Armenians, they mostly in Twitter, they use that a lot. They say, oh, you are like your dad and mom, like they go beyond cousins, like sister brothers, like that. It is. I think. I don't think that's a healthy way to like insulting. For both Armenians and Azerbaijanis, insulting is not going to take any like especially Armenians moved here. The most like 90% of Armenians from here, not from. I can tell from the way they write on Twitter. Like, they are from mostly here, not from Armenia. I don't know why, but
no, Twitter is English speaking space. So much more diaspora Armenians are active,
yeah.
and our Armenians in Armenia are more active on Facebook and other places. Yeah, Twitter is mostly for the English speaking audience.
But I read
Yeah.
like Tatu Hakopian on his Facebook, or Nairi something.
I don't remember the last.
Nairi. I follow him on Facebook. He's very nationalist. Tatul is not nationalist, but I can read their comments on there. They are very mature. They try to find a common ground between Azerbaijan and Armenia. They say what we should do. Should we just offer them Zangezur corridor, or that means if we don't give them, what happens if they keep us blockade, right? So when I read there, they almost live in. I can click their profiles. I can see that they live in Armenia, and I love the way they talk. No one like says bad things about Azerbaijanis. Even in the nationalist Nairi's, I forgot his name. He has two pages. Nairi's profile, he is very nationalist. And the Armenian commenters, they are very mature. They never says anything bad about Turks or
And a lot
Azerbaijanis.
of those conversations, for example, among Armenians, does happen in Armenian. So of course you would not have access, even Tatul, for example.
No, yeah, they are
Yeah.
Armenian, but I could
But
translate.
sometimes they maybe speak English on some.
No, and it's almost exceptionally
Yeah, it
Armenian.
is.
I just
Yeah.
sometimes they use Latin letters for Armenian. That way, I can't translate, but it's mostly Armenian letters. and just you click translate it. I read every day, and I can see that they are very mature. And my personal experience as well. When I met Armenians from Armenia, they are different than Armenians from here.
I think I'm gonna melt if you don't end this. I'm sweating already. It's really hot. Thank you again for joining us for Tête-à-Tête. What did I say? Six? Number six?
Yes,
Yeah,
the
I think it's
six.
Tête-à-Tête number 6 with Elchin Mammadov. It was a pleasure. Thank you, Javidara, for providing us this nice, cozy space in Hotel Zeppelin,
Zeppelin.
named after Led Zeppelin. Beautiful.
Sorry about the noise.
We hopefully will cancel that
Yeah.
out. Anyway, thank you for joining us and cheers.
Cheers.